EZDent I Quick Start Video Manual, Chapter 3B, Viewing tab, placing a virtual implant and drawing the canal. The objectives of this video here will be to utilize the simulation tools to perform the following: draw the mandibular nerve, canal draw, measure and place virtual implants with crowns. In order to place our virtual implant and draw our canal, let's navigate to the Viewer portion of the software. Left-click on Viewer tab, and then from here, let's perform a search for our patient. I'll type in the name Peggy, left-click on Search, verify this is the correct patient, and as a side note, you can either bring up the image list for this patient either by left-clicking once on the name, left-clicking once on OK, or you can also then double-click on the patient name to bring up the images associated for Peggy Brown. From here, you can verify that you are in the correct patient chart by looking at the chart number, the name of the patient, as well as the age. The next step will be to find the image that's going to be used for this virtual implant simulation. In the thumbnail view at the bottom, I have a panorama image that has an edentulous site. I'm going to left-click and then drag the image into my workspace. And then from here, I want to identify the fact that I'm going to place an implant at mandibular right where tooth number 30 used to exist. Typically, the first step in placing my implant would be to identify my mandibular canal. So I'll navigate over to the left-hand side in the simulation section and then left-click on Draw Canal. You'll notice the cursor now has a red line with 3 white dots beneath it to represent my Draw Canal function. To draw the canal, I can either go posterior, anterior, anterior, posterior. In this case here, I'll go from the posterior, and I'll left-click my mouse in between the superior and inferior border, and this will then construct my canal. When I get down near the end, perhaps there's an anterior loop, I can then double-click here, and I've now placed my mandibular canal. If I need to edit this canal, as I hover my mouse on top of the line, you notice I see the white boxes that represent each click that I made with my mouse. If I left-click, I can move it up, move it down, make edits, changes to it. Once I'm completed, I left-click away, and I've now set my mandibular canal. The next step that I would use would be to measure the height from the ridge to the superior border of my nerve. To do that, I'm going to hover my mouse on top of the icon up here that says length. I click on it once, and then from here I'm going to then make one click at the ridge, come down, and then make another left click on the superior border of my nerve. When I do that, it gives me a distance of 15.45 millimeters. To get out of the measurement tool, simply select Escape on your keyboard and then move on to the next function, which in this case here will be to place our virtual implant. To do that, I'm going to navigate back over to the simulation section, and I'm going to left click on Insert Implant. From here, I can then choose which tooth number is going to be replaced. In this case here, if we need to verify that, I can left click, move the window off to the side, and notify and verify that this is going to be in the site for tooth number 30. I left click here on number 30, and then I can specify what user I want to use. In this case here, I'm going to use Zimmer. In terms of my product lineup, I can then choose which model I want to use, and then choose the length of my implant. From here, I can also add a crown simulation on there, and then on the right hand side, specify its color. Once I've made my choice, I can then left click here on OK. Once our virtual implant is on the screen, we can move our mouse on top of the implant, left click, and move it down into its site. From here, if we want to be able to adjust the angle of our implant, at the apical end and occlusal end, there is a white box that we can left click, rotate clockwise or counterclockwise to adjust our angle. We can left click again on the middle part of my implant and move it bodily into position, let go again, and the implant is set. As for the crown, we also have the ability to adjust this. As I hover the mouse on top of the crown, the three white boxes here will allow me to either lengthen my crown, change the width of my crown, and so forth. The last function I can perform with my implant would be to simply right-click on it. I can go to Property, which will bring me back to my implant library. To see what manufacturer and model type I've chosen, I can then also left-click on Show Implant Information, and I can see it here. If I wish to discard my implant, I can right-click and then left-click on Delete. This concludes our video tutorial to place our virtual implant and draw our canal. At this point in time, you should be able to utilize the simulation tools to perform the following: draw the mandibular nerve, draw a canal, as well as measure and place the virtual implant with the crown. Thank you.